I'm getting this energy where somebody thought you were somebody else. Like somebody thought, well, I'm getting it in a few different ways right now. Well, two different ways. You know how someone sees you and they be like, oh, I thought you were somebody else. Like they'll see the side of you or something and they be like, they get closer, they're like, oh, I thought you were somebody else. Excuse me. Like they just start talking to you. So some of you may have experienced that before or just experienced that recently because that came through as I was about to say what I was about to say. But now I'm about to say what I was about to say. Somebody thought that you were like aggressive all the time or something. It feels like a statistical perception. Like they don't really have any contact with the type of energy that they assumed was a certain way, right? They don't have any, I want to hear natural contact. Like, say for instance, someone thinks or deems you to be a certain way that you're not, based off of a societal perspective, like, and then they meet you and you're not that. You're not what they thought you would be based off of false information. So they look at you different, they feel different about you, they don't know how to feel about you really. They don't know how to take you. It's like a prejudgment, a misconception that they were living by, and you just don't meet the guidelines of what they thought you should represent. That's what I'm getting. It's very like specific right now, but it's just like this judgment that someone had of you. But once they met you, it was like, oh, you're not even anything like that. I feel like a lot of people really miss out on great relationships because they have that misconception of a certain type of people. It could be a certain group or a certain, well, a group could be any group, so it could be anything. But once you get to know, or once they took the time to get to know someone that they had already prejudged based off of what they've heard, like gossipy things, like things that they've just been, I don't know, what's the word? Taught. They've been taught to know. They thought was true, and they never thought about, like they never took the time to think, let me not think that about these people because I never actually met them before. I didn't actually speak to this person before, so maybe I shouldn't judge so much. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe that's not the right thing to do. This is the group that doesn't really ask many questions. These types of people, they just hear something and just stay with that, and it's fine. It's true and everything. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it is true, but from their perspective it is. So this is someone that will come across trying to ignite frustration within you to see if poking the bear will make you react. But it's like provoked. It's not natural. You know, because there's certain things that are just plain old disrespectful. But still, you have a way about you where you wouldn't respond in this, even if it was ridiculous, whatever happened. You are so detached. You don't allow someone else's projection to affect you that much. You don't allow it to. Sometimes it could be tempting though, but when you check yourself and recognize what the goal is of the person, they never win. So it's like they thought that you were going to care more. Okay, that's what I'm getting. They thought you were going to care more about something. And this could have happened to you many times throughout life. It could be happening to you right now. But this is what Spirit is giving me. It's like this misunderstanding that so many people have of others, and they don't even take the time to want to find out for themselves. They just like go along with it. They go along with the misconception. They go along with not asking questions and trying to figure out for themselves, you know? And I feel like when it comes to these types of people, you have had enough. You don't tolerate this energy anymore because you know it's ignorance. Like, this energy is ignorant when you think about it, like when you really think about it. Because they're not taking the time to find out on their own. They're so quick to just take someone else's word. You know what it reminds me of? Like, people who go to church, but they choose not to actually look on their own. It's important that we do research on our own, and if we don't know how, you can learn by looking. You can Google everything else. Google how to do research, and then you'll find your way. I'm hearing you'll be more appreciated if you took that time. You'll be more appreciated. It's almost like for yourself, though. You would appreciate yourself more. You would appreciate your understanding more. I feel like that's the space where you learn to trust yourself, because you start to it's almost like you qualify yourself, because you know that you look into things before you just make an assumption. It also makes you more mindful, and it increases your desire to be aware instead of to not know. Just be, you want to be in the know. You don't want to be confused. So being that I feel like a lot of you do look up and look into things that are of interest to you, no matter what it is. So when you see someone prejudge you and place like this, I mean, naturally humans judge each other, don't get me wrong, but I mean like the worst type of judgment. Like, imagine someone just deemed you as a thief, but you never stole anything. You never stole anything. And even if you did in the past, when you were a child or whenever, you don't do it now. You know, even if because sometimes things happen when you're younger, you do things, whatever. But that's not the point. The point is, who are you today? You know, who are you today? There's many things that people do that aren't considered the greatest, but then you learn from it, and the key is to change. Now, if somebody's doing something that's not right and then they don't change, that's one thing. But if someone actually takes the time in their life to say, oh no, I can't do that anymore, I have to change, and then they change, then they change. Stop trying to tag something on to their person, and that's not them. And it makes it even worse when you've never even had a conversation with the person, or you've never known them before. Like you don't know anything about them, but you just think what you think because you assume from what you've been taught, which was not true. I just heard I lost respect. I feel like you lost respect for people like this. You lost respect. It's like, give me a chance to mess up before you try to like say something. Let me actually do something. And then if you see I'm doing something and then you tell me, it's like, oh, yeah, you know what? I was wrong. I'm not going to do that anymore. But if it's somebody you're dealing with, or even if it's a stranger, it makes you look at them differently, because you know how misaligned they are. They're very misaligned because they don't have the basics. They don't live by the basics in life. I feel like the basics are just understanding, like having an understanding of people, and that just solely based off of what you see, like how someone, I don't know, whatever group that they're in, I don't know, it's like, okay, like a group of women, like men think women, all women just, I don't know, what can I say, are lazy. I don't know, I'm just pulling out anything out the hat because that's the first thing that came to me. But that's not true. It's not true. But, you know, I find that when someone has a bad relationship, and if it's really extremely horrible with one person, everybody is to blame. Everybody is to blame. Everybody. Like, say, for instance, someone has a horrible relationship with a parent. Oh, now they just don't trust whatever parent that was. Like, say, for instance, someone had a really difficult time with their mother when they were younger, and they never forgave the parent or anything, and they never let it go. They never chose to heal from it. So now they just hate women. They just don't like them. And the same thing for a man. Like, imagine someone their father wasn't around when they were younger, or, you know, whatever, they weren't there the way they wanted them to. So when they became an adult, they just have a really bad perception of men. You know, I feel like a lot of people go through this, and then they project that energy into future relationships. And they don't, I feel like many of them don't even know that they're projecting in such a way. I feel like they feel like it's right. And I feel like from what Spirit is telling me, it's like that's a big reason why people get into relationships and it goes wrong, because they have like this dislike towards certain groups of people based on an experience that they had, not really realizing that everyone is not like that, but they just stuff everybody into the group that coincides with their thought and their experience, and all of the people in that group are the same. That's such a very small way of thinking, and it really stunts the growth of the person that's thinking that, as well as those around them. So I feel like this is the type of person that was targeting you, and you were wondering why. It's almost like, why do you hate me so much? I just heard. It's not you, though. I heard that very strongly. Like, why do you hate me so much? And it was actually a man's voice and a woman's voice at the same time. Why do you hate me so much? Because there's multiple people feeling this. They get into whatever type of relationship, and they're wondering, what did I do? Where's all this coming from? But it's someone taking their past anger out on you, because you're the future for them. You were their future person. So that pain that they never healed from the past, it lingered, and it has bled into their future and into the relationship that they had with you, whatever that was. Now, this could be anybody. It doesn't have to be like a romantic relationship. It could even be parents. It could even be family members. It could even be your boss if you are working at some job somewhere. This is the energy that I'm getting this morning. So just know that energy is not really towards you. It's anger about something else that happened. Because if you know you didn't do anything, and you're like, what is this about? Like, what is wrong with you? It's not you. It's them projecting on you because they have unhealed wounds, and they're projecting them onto you. But I think many wouldn't even know to say this because they don't realize what's happening to them. They don't realize it. So they're just walking around like with this toxic energy just festering inside of their vessel and inside of their psyche. And they don't even really know why they're so angry, because they can't call it. They can't pinpoint it because they don't. It's almost like they can't break it down to the root. But they might put up a front in public and make it seem like everything is cool. But deep down inside, they have like this void. And how they think they should fill it is to mistreat the one that hurt them through others. Does that make sense to you? I hope it wasn't confusing. But I feel like the majority of you understand what I just said. And I feel like at first you cared. At first it was like you were asking, like, what's wrong with you? And you wouldn't really get the answer, or it was like not, if you did get a response, it wasn't really answering the question, so it's like a loop. And then you realize they were trying to stick you into a loop that you needed to walk out of, and you walked out and you didn't care. There was a point where you stopped caring. You know, people care until they don't anymore, because once you put someone through too much, when they stop caring, okay? I heard when a woman's fed up, but it's not just for a woman, it's for a man as well. When somebody is fed up, there's a lot of things that they're just not going to accept, tolerate, deal with, leave me alone. Because I see what you're doing and you're not about to do that to me. Yeah. Okay? I heard a lot of the times it happened to you after the in-between the sheets activity, and then the attitude switched up because they started feeling themselves, and it was like, oh, so yeah, now I'm gonna do this, see how you act. Now I'm gonna do this, see how you act. Yeah, like that. And then you like, wait. At first you might have got caught, because that's a powerful spell that can happen in between the sheets. Okay, that's a very, very, very potent spell, because there's a lot of swapping going on, okay? In multiple, almost said multiple dimensions, but I think I should leave it like that. But anyway, it's very powerful. So, still, even if the soul tie was there, you recognized when it needed to be cut. And I don't know how long it took. For some of you, it could have took longer than for others, but it doesn't, that's not the point. The point is that you were able to exceed your own expectations, because I feel like some of you were really tied to a person that treated you in such a way, in this way. And they often had a really nasty attitude towards you, and you really couldn't understand why. It's like, what? I'm doing everything that I can do for you. You know, I'm doing everything I can. I'm being like a good partner. Like, I know I am. I know I'm listening to you. I know that. And then you're like, but still, like, so why are you acting like this? It's just not making sense. The dots are not connecting. And it's because they won't, because it's the person's energy that is causing this. It's their choice to look at their past as a victim, and then they take the victim mentality and take it out on you. That's why it's really important to ask questions in the beginning. Remember how I said it before about, like, when you date someone, ask questions. I feel like a lot of people don't be asking no questions that are meaningful to you. I feel like deep conversations are like scarce now. I don't feel like they happen so much anymore, because many have become so vain and so like surface level. It's just very shallow. So you don't get to the points where it's most important. You don't ask things that are really important to you. Maybe you change that. Maybe you are looking at things differently now. Now you ask more questions, or you think deeper. Because sometimes there's certain individuals that can't help but to be deep, because that's just their energy. They're just always going in the sea. They're always like in the ocean somewhere, because that's just their energy. That's just who they are. And it just goes there. It's not hard. It's not, you don't have to think too hard about it. It's natural. But then you have other people that just talk about these just surface level things. But until you get deeper, like, what type of relationship do you have with your mom? Do you spend time with her? Like, what gift did you get for her that she loved? You know, little questions like that. And then if the person's like, oh no, they ain't getting nothing because and then you're like, there's a wound there. Do you know that's a wound? You know, like little stuff like that. See, that wasn't too probing. I think that was a natural question, but it's a real question that could lead you to a real answer that you might want to know. If you planning on giving yourself away to someone, there's things that you might want to know. I mean, hey, this is your body, right? That you're about to give away to a person. You don't need to know something. You don't need to know something. So you gotta ask to know sometime. It doesn't just come out like that. It does under certain circumstances when two people feel very comfortable with each other and it just flow. Just flowing. Hey, go, talk. Nobody cares. Just we care, but nobody else should care. Because we're here, right here. Right? It's like that type of thing. That's like a gold mine. And I say that in such a way where it's like energetically, it's like the two individuals become golden to one another because of the way that they open up to each other. And then when you open up to another person, there's trust that begins to build and there's a bond. As long as there's no like, I wanted to say fugazi. What that mean again? I guess that's funny style. But I heard fugazi. I'm about to go drive away after I get off this camera. I'm about to go drive away. You're like, what? Wait, let me see. Yeah. It's a slang word though. It's not, it's ebonics. But anyway, it says, means something that is fake, bogus, or not genuine. It says often used in Italian American communities, particularly in New York. Look. This is a hint that I'm a New Yorker because I'm thinking about the word fugazi. I haven't even said that in a long time. I don't know why that word just came to me. Maybe the person that, maybe you or the person that did this to you was of Italian descent. Okay, now I'm also hearing maybe some of you really love Italian food, like pasta and stuff. Maybe. Because, yeah. But anyway. I heard lasagna. Who loves lasagna and ziti? Somebody like that. I don't know. Somebody do. But now back to these messages. Okay, so it's really basically about the fact that you did not care. You stopped caring. And that was the best thing that you could have ever done for yourself. Because otherwise you would have been stuck in this cyclone of frustration that this person wanted you to feel because they felt it. And they tried to make you feel it as well. And it's also something about mistreatment is here, but it's something else. It's almost like expecting you to just receive it. Just take the mistreatment and don't expect anything more and deal with it. It's given that energy. Like, this person thought, I can do anything to you and you're just not going to do anything. You're not going to go nowhere. It's like they just thought that because your energy, it didn't give them much of a signal that you were going to, like, eventually move on, is what I feel. Because you were tired. I feel like you really got tired of the consistency and the lack of communication, trust. And I feel like it was really, maybe, I was gonna say trust towards you. Like, this person always tried to make it seem like you weren't being honest about something. This is the energy that I'm getting. Like, they kept trying to accuse you of things that you were never doing. And then I'm hearing most of the time when people do that, it's a guilty conscience because it's something that they're doing. So they have like this guilt within them because they know that they're not doing right. So then they looking at you with the side eye, like, you funny style. Like, what you doing? I know I'm doing something, so what you doing? And it's like, you wasn't even doing anything. You were being loyal and they weren't, but they were treating you like you were disloyal. Disloyal? Is that a word? I don't know. That don't feel right now. Disloyal. Let me see. Let me make sure. Okay, let's see. I know it's not loyal, is what we usually say, but let me see. It did. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I don't use that word like that, but it is a word. I just felt it seems like one. You know, sometimes well, maybe you don't know, maybe whatever, but it's demonstrating a lack of loyalty. So yeah, it almost felt like it wasn't right though. Have you ever like spelled a word and you spelled it right, but it didn't look right? That's just how I felt when I said the word. Why does that happen? Is that called something? Let me see. What happens in the mind, or should I say brain? I don't know. I'll just say mind. When you look at a word and you think it is spelled incorrectly. You hear my tongue roll? Incorrectly. Let's see. When you perceive a word as misspelled, your brain briefly experiences a speed bump. What? In its automatic reading process, leading to a feeling of something being wrong or unfamiliar, a phenomenon sometimes called wordnesia. When a word deviates from the expected pattern even slightly, the automatic process encounters a speed bump. It says, this process involves multiple areas of the brain, primarily in the left hemisphere. The logic. When a word deviates from from the expected pattern even slightly, the automatic process encounters a speed bump. Oh, I read that already. I meant to read this. This can lead to a temporary feeling of a familiar word looking strange or incorrect, a phenomenon sometimes called wordnesia. Wordnesia is funny to me. It says proficient readers process words holistically, recognizing them as units rather than individual letters. So, I guess I had a little wordnesia. That's a funny thing to say. But yeah, you didn't care anymore. And I feel like when you showed excuse me, when you showed that you didn't care, when you showed that you didn't care to these people or to this person, there's something about an ego death. I don't know. This person went through an ego death. This person went through, I don't know. They had a certain level of like, it feels like a control over you. At least that's how they felt. But they didn't realize that you were getting so tired. But just because you weren't saying much, they thought that they were like doing a thing that they weren't doing. They were just aggravating you to the point where you wanted to leave. And then you finally did. And now you feel free again. I feel like they had you locked up like a exotic creature. Like you was like some type of exotic rare animal that was about to go extinct, and they felt like they wanted to keep you there, but them having you pumped up their ego because you look good. See, it pumped up their ego, but then they wasn't even treating you right. Something that you like hold as a prize in such a way, wouldn't you think you would treat it right? But see, they would if they weren't so broken inside. Being that they were broken, that's the reason why they behaved in such a way. It was the brokenness. That's messed up how people project like that. And then the sad part about it is a lot of people don't even know what they're doing. They don't be knowing. They just be out here being, they like the chemtrails. You got the people out here acting like chemtrails now. Just spraying toxicity everywhere. Jacking people up. And don't even know that they part of the problem. Ain't that something? Wow. Or wowzers. Who says that? Wowzers, who says that? That's funny. I don't know. That's different. That's like something you see when you're watching one of those science shows for kids. They say stuff like that. I guess it keeps the kids engaged. If I start talking like that to a little kid, you know, little kids like words like that. Like, they like onomatopoeias. Like bam, boom, bang. Kids think that's just so funny. I don't know why I'm thinking about that. That's so left field. But hey, I'm just sharing my thoughts. Anyway, I think that's it for this message. I think that's it. I think that's it. Hey, hey, hey. Ooh. It's like sunny outside and the air is crisp. You know that crisp air where it's like just fresh and then it's like cold? I like that. I'm about to go out there in the world and explore for the morning and do my things that I shall do and enjoy the outside world as I do when it's time to. Hey, don't go that way. But yeah, so I think that's it for this message. You just really surprised a person that felt as though they could use you as their chew toy. Wow, that's a lot, Spirit. So that means that they acted like a dog. They was barking. They was barking, but they didn't know that you growl. They didn't know that. Anyway, I'll see you in the next message.